a Wednesday, and this is the Baldwin Park Planning Commission meeting. To start everything off, would everybody please rise to say the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. All right, so now that the meeting is called to order, we need roll call.
Thank you. Chair Kevin Rooney.
Present.
Vice Chair Mario Maciel Jr. Commissioner Edwin Borcas.
Here.
Commissioner Edith Flores. Commissioner Christopher Sines.
Present.
All right. Is there a motion to excuse the missing commissioners?
I move to excuse the two commissioners.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 They are excused. Next, we have public communications. Anyone is wishing to speak on anything besides what's on the agenda for tonight may come up and speak. You have 3 minutes. Please state your name and residence. Seeing no interest, public communications now closed. We're moving on to the consent calendar.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the action minutes from May 22nd, 2019.
All right, I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain, yeah.
Abstain.
By coincidence, as I stated, for passing a resolution requires 3 votes. However, for passing a simple motion, only requires 2 votes. So it passes 2 to 0-1. 201.
All right. Next, we have set matters. I believe that is your realm.
Evening. There we go. Good evening, Honorable Chair and members of the Commission. Before you tonight is application CAN 18-01. The applicant is requesting that the Commission recommend to the City Council the proposed development agreement DA 19-01 is approved. DA 19-01 would permit a cannabis manufacturing and/or cultivation facility at 1529 Virginia Avenue. The Planning Division has verified that the proposed cannabis use meets the requirements set forth in City Ordinance 1408. It is within the IC zone or industrial commercial zone. There are not any schools, child care facilities, or youth centers within a 600-foot radius, nor is it within 50 feet of a residential zone. There are properties across on Virginia. Let's see if this is right. Down here. These ones that are being used for residential use. However, they are within the industrial commercial zone. Therefore, the properties are considered legal nonconforming and thus not subject to the 50-foot distance requirement. The subject site has a lot area of 14,645 square feet and is currently developed with a 2-suite commercial building of 5,771 square feet and associated parking. The applicant is proposing to locate within one of the suites for a total area of 3,510. So here we can kind of see the 2 doors. This is where the proposed location would be. The applicant is proposing tenant improvements to the interior space that will facilitate the extraction and manufacturing of cannabis products. There is no exterior signage or public visitation to the facility, and the applicant will comply with all security requirements identified in the ordinance and in the DA. In addition, as indicated in the DA that is attached to the staff report, the applicant is committed to a one-time fee of $15,000, an annual mitigation fee of $110 for years 1 to 3, $220 for years 4 to 5, and an annual donation of $50,000 for a police officer and or code enforcement officer, and also the applicant will maintain 20% of their workforce to be Baldwin Park residents. In closing, it is staff's recommendation that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution 19-10 to recommend City Council adopt Ordinance 1440, which will approve DA 19-01. The applicant's also here if you have any questions.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, the staff member outlined the public benefits that are in this development agreement. However, when you are deciding tonight on the approval or denial of this project, or approval in part or denial in part, you're not to consider the public benefits that are being offered, which is the $110,000, for example. Your purview is the land use issues surrounding this project and not the mitigation fees. Mitigation fees will be negotiated between the applicant and City Council. So the numbers in your development agreement may change in the future. That depends on, as I said, between the applicant and the City Council. That concludes my remarks. Thank you.
All right. Well, has any of the cultivation plants that put in applications paid their dues? Like, how many have had made payments to the agreements of their dues? I'm just curious. I know it's not going to factor into the decision, but as a resident, I'd like to know.
We have had applicants pay. They've the majority, I think, with the exception of one, have all paid the initial donation to the police officer, for the police officer, as well as the administrative fee of the $15,000, and then from there it varies in regards to the mitigation fees because they do depend on when the DA was executed. But we do have them in varying, I guess. Most of them had made some sort of payment, but they're in different stages or amounts.
Okay, thank you.
I have another question. Since we began this process nearly 2 years ago, I think, how many of these facilities have actually opened their doors?
We have one that has a temporary certificate of occupancy. Other than that, we have one that is under construction. We don't have any cultivation or manufacturing that are fully operational. And that, so yeah, I'll leave it at that.
And it's more of a question for the applicant to keep in mind that we're nearing a 2-year process, and nobody has opened their doors. So just, I mean, you guys are willfully entering into this application, but I just want you guys to keep in mind that it's been a very slow process for everybody that's tried opening their doors.
I wonder if you could, I know that they don't like giving the addresses to the public of these for safety reasons. Would I be able to get the address, me and the other commissioners, for the ones that do have their doors open? That the one facility you said that's actually got employees in it?
Yes, we can give you that information.
We can.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, any more questions? All right, seeing none. Is there a motion to pass? Oh, open to the public, sorry. All right, anyone wishing to speak on this matter has 3 minutes. You could state your name and residence, please, and that's about it. You could come up and talk. And sorry for my misstep, I apologize.
Good evening. My name is Erica Vasquez, and this is my husband.
My name is
Could you turn the microphone on?
Press the button on the mic.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, it was on.
It was on. Okay. Hi. We're actually here in regards to the location. Our address is 1528 Virginia Avenue. We're pretty much right next door to this location.
Well, according to,
I think the address
I
is
think the
incorrect.
I don't know if, because I work at 1529 Virginia Avenue. It's industrial powder coating. So, and I know the owner, and so far he hasn't mentioned anything about selling his business to his cannabis, but the previous address was 1519 Virginia Avenue, which is still 2 houses down on the same block. So I don't know what location this cannabis place is opening, but regardless of where, it's basically too close to our home. We have kids there, and I've read a lot of stuff from laws like City of Long Beach that has cultivation, and people, residents there complain about the smells.
The odors, the emitting odors are pretty bad. In addition to that, my son takes the bus. It's just walking distance. It's about 600 feet, about a block. And there is a bus stop there. I know there are zones where this kind of location can't open, and we don't understand how it can open next to a school bus zone. But we're also worried about the increased criminal activity around that area. It's kind of secluded.
So we already have problems with graffiti, homeless, and multiple stuff. We contact the police about the graffiti that's going on right there. People shooting up drugs there. It's kind of like, and for this to open, it's kind of like, wow, we don't need this added stuff like here. And we've been living here for basically most of our lives and everything. And for, we love the city and everything, but
we would really like to stay there. And I think with that kind of business opening right next door to our home, we are concerned for our well-being there. So we ask that you guys please reconsider the location of this cultivation. As residents, we have kids, and that's pretty much all we have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Vasquez, would you please pronounce your first name again? Mr. Vasquez.
it's Heriberto Vasquez.
Alberto?
Heriberto. You want me to spell it out, or Heriberto?
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Would the applicant like to come up to address these questions?
You're coming up. I have a few questions in regards to what they're asking that you might be able to answer. So it's my understanding that these facilities are expected to have most of the state-of-the-art filtration systems, like HEPA filters for emissions. So, as you're addressing the Vasquez family, do you mind just talking about the the filtration system that you're planning on employing?
I'm assisting Eric in doing the planning process. We don't have all the mechanicals in. There are scrubbers. My name's Michael Toohey from the Michael Toohey Company. If you understand where the property is located, across the street from us, next door to the house, at 1516, it used to be a lumber yard. It's now Tier 1 Consulting, Cannabis Cultivation and Manufacturing, across the street next to the houses. We're on the other side against the freeway. It is Charles Ortega's property. Yes, I know who Charles Ortega is. I've dealt with him and his father and uncles when they were with us. But we will we're not buying the facility. And since other things have changed, just so you understand, in the cannabis world, we're looking for a much larger facility, but we have to start the process with other things happening within your city boundaries and some of the licenses that are already approved. may have them pulled because they haven't performed. We're moving forward. I did help 15023 Ramona Boulevard, which is Cultivate, which is an 18,000 square foot manufacturing facility. They opened September 1st, and they're building a pharmaceutical grade facility, and they're having state-of-the-art scrubbers. These do require state-of-the-art scrubbers for your mechanical systems, and they're done throughout. That wasn't at this process level, but since the industry has primarily been doing manufacturing and cultivation within your city, Eric, who has a specialization in food, is looking at building an edible kitchen. So in the future, we would look to build it at a different location. But this is where we started our process, and just like a lot of your other applicants have switched locations, we would eventually probably switch to a much larger facility that's has kitchen ability, which means you need to have what do you call your tank for food?
Grease trap.
The grease trap has to be installed, and on Charles' property. But I do know Charles. I know Charles knows them very well. Like I said, industrial powder coating has been there a lot of years, but it's was a process to start in, and since then, and since other applicants have failed in this city, other locations have become available. They're just not vacant yet, so we can't apply on them. But this is where we're starting the process. We hope you will approve it tonight, and we will look to work with those residents to make sure we get to a more appropriate area. But I understand they are friends of Charles. Charles did sign our agreement to let us apply, and so did his uncle. It is a very personal thing for me, for this family, so you understand. The Ortega family was part of the Christmas Eve massacre, and anytime I can help this family, I also have a billboard application that's coming before you shortly on this property also, to try to help Charles Ortega and his brother and sisters. Go ahead.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Eric Innermill. I'm the applicant in respect to this project. I think Mike has answered all of those questions, but I do thank the public for speaking up. I also have a 7-month-old daughter, so I do understand the concerns with having children close by. Just to reiterate, with my line of business, I've been in the food service business actually since I was 15 years old, and also my education in food service and hospitality. Through this process, we've been working diligently to open a edibles kitchen. So unlike some of the other larger facilities that are focused on the cultivation of the actual flower themselves, we're actually looking at using the derivatives, the oils, to put in a food grade and provide edibles to the dispensaries. So again, we will not be open our doors to the public. This would be something that's processed inside, and again, I would stress that these are food grade extractions and edibles, so we don't expect the same thing that's been discussed, the fumes and the toxins. Now that this has come to market, it's a lot more important for these food grade edibles not to use the chemical extractions and some of those things that people are familiar with, and the oils that are smoked and used in other applications. So, unless there's any other questions.
All right. Any other questions, Commissioners?
And Ron, as far as the issue with the school, I mean, it passes the distance to the surrounding. I know there was a certain amount of feet it has to be.
Yeah, it's 600 feet to a school, daycare facility, and teen center. But there isn't anything in the ordinance that was written with respect to it being in proximity to a school bus stop. So that's not one of the standards. Also, just like to clarify, based on the zoning, as Eric had mentioned during her report, that the ordinance is very specific in that it says that it shall be, the buffer shall be from a residentially zoned property. So in this case, the zoning, there's a residential use, but the zoning is non-residential. So in this case, it would not apply. the distance requirements.
All right, thank you.
And if you understand, in that location, there's only 4 homes total. There's 1 home on our address side of the street. Otherwise, it's property owned by the Seidners and then In and Out. And on the other side, there's 3 residents, I think, from the corner. And then there's nothing but, there's a cannabis facility going in next door to those residents that I believe you guys approved 2 or 3 months ago. Like I said, it's Tier 1 consulting. And then the rest are all factories, House of Lumber, and then In and Out and other people. But there's only 4 residents total, and I believe one of the residents next door to our facility, or next to the water tank facility, passed away recently, the older gentleman.
Okay. So pretty much you're just going to use this for a starter business, and when you expand it, you're going to move to a new location? Is that what I'm understanding?
Right now, to go through your process, you need an address to apply. Since then, other addresses are coming to us, but we would have to start over instead of processing an address change with you guys.
Oh, okay. I understand.
So it is, otherwise it would take another year to go back through the process. We do not anticipate, based on what's happening in the industry and the number of failures of other locations, that we will be able to find a suitable location away from their home.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for all your input.
Excuse me, sir. Mr. Tui, would the gentleman with you please state your name again for the record?
Yes, it's Eric Intermill,
And how are you spelling your last name?
Intermill.
Thank you.
Yeah, can I ask one quick question? I think I understood, but so this address is being used as for the application to begin to undergo the process. So I know only time will tell, but what do you think the probability of actually opening your business at this location? Like, do you anticipate opening business, or do you hope that by the time that everything gets going, that a larger facility that would accommodate a kitchen would become available?
We believe there will be larger facilities at this time until the city cancels some of the other DAs, that those locations won't be given up by the tenants who have them currently leased. But to start your process, you need this. And like I said, I think you've processed like 4 address changes already. It's just something that does happen. They wanted addresses to start. And Mr. Ortega, who I know they know very well, Charles Ortega, even though he's looked at other locations to expand in your city, since he is an industrial powder coater, it is tremendously difficult to get through the AQMD, a new location. So since all this process we're going, I believe Charles Ortega will stay there, no question. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
A question for city staff, or maybe our attorney. Are there any current development agreements that are in default? Is that something that's public knowledge? Is it something?
No, it's something that is developing. I can't say more than that, because it's really up to the decision makers to declare them to be in default. But there are several that have not paid as yet, and so it depends on whether a payment plan will be made or whether they will be declared defaulted.
All right. I hope that answers anybody's questions. Seeing as no one else wants to step back up, public communication for this is closed. Is there a motion to pass?
Ron, I have a quick question. So the two addresses that are in question, which is the one that's already there, and then what is the one? Because there seemed to be a little discrepancy about which address was what.
In discussing with, maybe the applicant can provide a little more clarification, but based on the application that was given and based on our verification on the of the address, it's 15.
The address is 1529 Virginia Avenue. It does have 2 suites, so there's also the address of 1527, and they share the same APN. So we did use the address that was on the application, which is 1529, because it's for that particular suite.
Another question for city staff, and I'm sure at this point you've vetted the application enough that if it's before us, it's cleared everything. But so next door is obviously the powder coating business, and there's actually very few powder coating businesses in the United States because of the environmental impact. So my question is, does AQMD, or let's say even the health department, I don't know if the health department's involved, will they allow for this facility to open next to a company that we know contaminates like the environment? Is that something like it's...
So the address, the 1529, is actually the address of the powder coating suite.
So if this application goes forward and they decide the powder coating will no longer exist, that's gone. It's one or the other.
Yeah, throughout, yeah.
I understand. Thank you.
Well, open public communication, so
Yeah, go ahead.
they could come up and speak. Reopen it.
No, I'm sorry, the powder coating's staying. We're just processing our thing until we find a location. Industrial powder coating is not closing down. I want to make sure that's quite clear. They own 2 powder coating businesses in the city of Baldwin Park, one across the street from Harley Davidson, that is owned by Charles's cousin, James, next to Duran Auto Body, and this one. But they're staying. We process, we look to try to help Charles get a larger facility, and the AQMD laws are too great to overcome. So he will be staying there. We're processing our application, waiting for someone else to fail in the city to take their location. Industrial powder coating will survive.
Yeah.
All right. Public communications will now be closed. Are there any other questions before we do? Is there a motion to pass?
Yeah, well, based on the fact that I get the impression that they're going to be moving this, they're just, they want to transfer this to a different location. I move to approve.
And also, I just kind of want to add some comments. And the fact that we're actually looking at this through the lens of the land use, and it's actually like pretty black and white. It's like, does it fit or does it not fit? And there's, I think, very little that can hold us back. I think based on what was presented by staff, it's pretty clear cut that the land is suited for this use, right? It's not like it's emotions aside. It's very clear cut. So just kind of wanted to add. So I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'd just like to say the area is a zoning area, not residential. That's part of the reason why we're obligated to pass it also, because they break no laws. But, and a good note is they says pretty much they're putting it there for paperwork and planning on getting a bigger facility later. So I don't think you have to worry. All right. Okay. Motion passes 3-0. Next on the agenda?
That goes to City Council.
Yes. We only recommend. City Council makes the final decisions. So I'm just letting you know.
Before we go on to the next item, I also like to just clarify, this item is agendized to the City Council meeting for next week, Wednesday. So for any further comments with respect to the approval, the consideration of the approval of the DA, again, it'll be on the agenda for council next week, Wednesday.
All right. I believe the motion, well, we already said next item on the list.
So good evening. Before you tonight, application CP 880. The applicant, Oliver Gabay, is requesting that the commission approve a drive-through in conjunction with the conversion of a single commercial building into 4 tenant commercial spaces located at 14200 Ramona Boulevard. The drive-through would operate as part of a Starbucks coffee shop. The subject site has a zone designation of general commercial, which is C2, and a general plan designation of general commercial. Recently, it was excluded from the downtown TOD specific plan area with the approval of specific plan amendment 19-01 on April 3rd, 2019. Properties to the east and also to the south, up to this line here, are still part of that downtown TOD specific plan area. Surrounding properties include general commercial, mixed use, and garden multifamily zones. The property is approximately 30,631 square feet of lot area and is improved with a 7,080 square foot commercial building and surface parking. The applicant is proposing to improve the interior by creating 4 tenant spaces, totaling 6,143 square feet of retail space. Exterior improvements are proposed in addition to on-site and off-site improvements. The Starbucks will occupy 2,250 square feet of retail space located at the southern portion of the building. One driveway approach is off of Sterling, let's see here, and then the other approach is off of Ramona through the city parking here. There's city parking here, and so people can, from Ramona, turn in here, or Baldwin Park into the city parking, and then into the site. The existing driveway approaches will remain. The existing parking on the south and east sides of the building would also remain. The site would be improved with landscaping planters at various locations throughout the site, outdoor patios on either side of either end of the building, 30 parking spaces, and 2 trash enclosures. The proposed off-site improvements include reducing a circular street frontage median that currently separates the city parking lot and Ramona Boulevard. So I apologize, but it's here, the trees, it's really hard to see the canopy, but there's a circular median here. Part of it will be shaved off, and that'll basically allow this driveway entrance into the city parking lot to be widened, and that'll allow these cars to access the site. And then the sidewalk just north here will also be shaven a little, and that'll allow cars to enter here. There are 2 trees that are proposed for removal to accommodate the median and curb reduction. A condition of approval has been included to place all trees at a 1-to-1 ratio. The entrance to the drive-through is located on the northern side of the subject property. So the entrance to the drive-through will be here, and then the drive-through will be along the north and east of the building, and then it'll come out here. The drive-through aisle can accommodate, the drive-through consists of a 12-foot wide drive-through aisle lane, and it can accommodate up to 10 vehicles at a time without interfering with on-site circulation. A drive-through queuing analysis was provided by K2 Traffic Engineering, Inc. It indicated that the most frequent number of vehicles queuing for other Starbucks locations is 9 vehicles at their peak hours. The maximum number of vehicles queued at any one time at other locations surveyed was 13. Here we have some conceptuals of how the finished building would look. I do want to note that on these renderings, the roof is white, but that has been changed to be an earth tone color. So now the roof will be earth tone, but this will give you from the north, from Ramona, Baldwin Park, Ramona, and so this is where they will enter. And again, this is where the drive-through will be. You can see the front patio here, and then these ones are from the southern portion. So this will be the southern patio for Starbucks. This is, again, the driveway. This is the entrance into the different tenant spaces. And you can see this is a glass wall here. On the other end of the building, it'll also mirror a glass wall. This is the site plan. The facade design will include painting the exterior roof as mentioned, a natural stone color, and keeping the existing brick building. The eastern brick wall will be modified to create entrances into the building. The building will include an interior hallway allowing access into each tenant space. The facade facing Ramona and Sterling will be a transparent glass wall. Wood cladding is also proposed along the building elevations to add interest and detail to the proposed building. The height of the building will remain at 25 feet 3 inches. Okay, this is the proposed floor. This is where you can see the hallway that will be created. And then you'd be able to enter each tenant space. Here are elevations. Decorative rod supported metal awnings are also proposed at the base of the signage on the north, south, west, and east elevations. This is a detail of the materials that will be used. And this shows a little more detail of the Starbucks entrance. In closing, there's 10 development standards that the municipal code has established for proposed drive-throughs that generally deal with impacts to nearby residents. The proposed drive-through has received a tentative approval for design review and an approved administrative adjustment to allow for the queuing distance to be reduced from 120 to 111 feet, measured from the entrance of the drive-through entrance to the menu. With these preliminary approvals in place, the proposed drive-through complies with all requirements of the code, and therefore staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution PC 19-12 to approve CP 880. The applicant's also here if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. We will now open public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter can come up. You have 3 minutes. Please state your name and residence. All right, seeing no interest, public communications is now closed.
Is the applicant available to come up? Oh. Good evening. Sir, you need their names?
Oliver Gabai. Gene Detchmendy. Gene Detchmendy. DETCHEMENDY.
As far as the actual Starbucks itself, there's going to be maybe a little more area to, for students, like sofas? Is it going to be a little bit out of the ordinary as compared to some of the other Starbucks? So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Got it. Because that's a great location. There's a lot of traffic that goes through that, Morgan Park adjacent spot. And I feel like that would be, that coffee house kind of vibe where, people could go and relax. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you. And then you said there's also some spaces that are going to be for other retailers, right, as well?
Yes, there's 3 other spaces that are along Ramona and then going down.
Okay. Those are going to be a smaller. Those will be smaller.
Yes, those spaces are a little bit smaller. I think out of the, you know what? Let me grab this board.
Hmm.
We are hoping to kind of all here.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee, you want to grab lunch. Coffee.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, any more questions? All right, seeing that there's no more questions, I thank you guys for coming up. Is there a motion to pass?
Need to close the
Oh,
public hearing.
public communications is now closed. Motion,
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve.
A second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Next, we have another request, I believe, for consideration. Another request for consideration?
Thank you, members of the commission. Tonight before you, the applicant is requesting the approval of a development plan to facilitate the construction of a new 4,018 square foot drive-through restaurant, a conditional use permit for the operation of a drive-through, and a tentative parcel map to subdivide an existing 9.19 acre lot, which is the Target Center, into two lots within the Freeway Commercial and Sierra Vista overlay zone. Here's an aerial. The project site consists of paved surface parking spaces that serve the Target retail store. The site is accessed via a two-way driveway on Francisquito Avenue and Baldwin Park Boulevard. The subject site is approximately 9.19 acres. The site is in the northeastern portion of the Sierra Center Shopping Center, approximately south of Baldwin Park Boulevard and Francisquito. So the Raising Cane's is here, and then here at the corner, Francisquito and Baldwin Park, which is adjacent to the existing Jack in the Box. And again, you have the Target and Target Center parking lot.
Can you show me one more time where the actual restaurant will be?
So the restaurant's going to be right here. Here's the entrance off of Francisquito into the Target Sierra Center.
Yeah.
And then there's an entrance off of Baldwin Park Boulevard.
Okay, I understand where it is
This
now.
corner right here.
Yes. Thank you.
And Ron, on that map, where would Jack in the Box be?
Right on the corner.
Jack in the Box is right here, right at the corner.
Got it. Got it.
All right. We will open public communication.
I'm not done with that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
Here, so here's the site. The applicant is proposing to remove existing surface parking spaces to construct the restaurant, along with an outdoor patio and covered patio area. So again, this is the entrance to the Sierra Center, and then the entrance to the parking lot of Raising Cane's come in here, and here's the entrance of the drive-through. Again, this is the location of the building. Outdoor seating and the covered decorative outdoor seating area. No curb cuts are proposed off of Baldwin Park Boulevard or Francisquito Avenue for this development. Parking, again, is proposed adjacent to the restaurant. A total of 40 parking spaces are required for the site, and a total of 46 parking spaces will be provided for the restaurant building. Landscaping is also proposed around the sides of the building, which will serve to soften the aesthetic appearance of the building from the street. A final landscape and irrigation plan are required per the conditions of approval. Again, here's the slide of the interior of the space. Again, you have outdoor seating here, and then here's the covered decorative outdoor seating area here. Again, you have the service area, kitchen, and then indoor dining. Here are the elevations. The proposed development, again, will be visible from the surrounding area, including surrounding streets and buildings. As stated, the project consists of a new restaurant. The facade design will include varying roof elements, parapet walls ranging in heights from 20 feet to 23 feet, 6 inches. The south elevation of the building features a 23-foot high element consisting of reclaimed metal panel in the shape of a number 1, which is here. The metal panel will be painted a vintage red. The building is contemporary in style and is designed in accordance with the restaurant's chain's new corporate architecture. Customer entrances to the building are on the south and east elevations of the building. The exterior of the building includes brick veneer and stucco. Brick veneer is a mixture of tan and red brick, while the stucco is white and tan. The proposal also includes decorative rod-supported metal awnings on the southwest and east elevations. An outdoor covered patio, as mentioned, is proposed adjacent to the entrance of the building. And lastly, the storefronts include anodized black framing with clear glass. And additionally, metal coping will be installed on all the building elevations. As mentioned, the project site is subject to the Baldwin Park Boulevard Francisquito Avenue triangle, which is in specific plan 93-1. It establishes a minimum lot size and frontage. So as you can see, this site plan shows the target center, the property, and so the parcel map is for the subdivision of carving out this section of that property for the development of that restaurant. So at the end of the day, it'll be 2 parcels for the target and then 1 for Raising Cane's, which will include reciprocal access between the 2 properties. Again, as mentioned, the CUP is required again by the code for a drive-through restaurant. Again, the entrance to the drive-through is located on the south side of the subject property, located here. The drive-through consists of 2 12-foot drive-through lanes that condense to 1 12-foot lane located on the northern portion of the project site and wraps around 2 sides of the building. Southwest portion, including the southwest portion. The drive-through aisle can accommodate queuing capacity of 19 to 24 vehicles, assuming that the vehicle size is between 20 and 25 feet per vehicle at a time without interfering with on-site circulation. A drive-through queuing analysis provided by Kimley Horn was provided, indicated that the average number of vehicles queuing for other Raising Cane's location is 9 vehicles at their peak hours. The maximum number of vehicles queued at any one time at the locations that were surveyed was 17. The locations surveyed were selected for similar drive-through design and adjacent to or within a larger commercial center. The locations surveyed included the cities of Laguna Hills and Orange. In addition, the municipal code includes standards for drive-through facilities, as indicated in the staff report for your review. The drive-through facility complies with all the requirements of the code. A resolution of approval has been prepared that allows for the drive-through to operate between 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. Sunday to Thursday and 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. Friday to Saturday. Again, as mentioned, the site is located in the Baldwin Park Triangle Specific Plan, which requires the submittal of a development plan, design review application, which shall be considered by the City Council following a recommendation from the Planning Commission and design review. So that's why this is before you. The development plan design review application was submitted and reviewed and tentatively approved by the review committee for construction of the drive-through facility on April 2nd of this year. Staff has prepared a resolution for the Planning Commission recommending that the council approve the development plan and design review for the restaurant. In conclusion, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt the resolution PC 1911, recommending that the City Council approve the development plan, the tentative track map, and the conditional use permit to facilitate the development of the Raising Cane's drive-through restaurant. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions. The applicant, as well as the engineer, the traffic engineer for the project, is present for any further questions.
All right, thank you very much. Public communications is now open. If you wish to speak for or against this, you have 3 minutes. Please state your name and residence.
Hi. We actually own the property right across the street at 3132 Baldwin Park Boulevard. That's actually where we brought the first Starbucks in Baldwin Park to. And just kind of sitting here listening to this presentation, I just wanted to mention that we definitely support this project. That was it.
All right, thank you. Seeing no further interest, public communication is now closed. Do the commissioners have any questions?
Yeah,
Yes,
sorry.
yes. I'm gonna jump on this. First of all, my fellow commissioners, we haven't had this much excitement on a planning commission agenda in a long time. Let me start off by saying, a trusted friend of mine took me to Raising Cane's a few weeks ago, and I went. The best chicken I've ever had in my life. And believe it or not, I said, why can't Raising Cane's be in Baldwin Park? I was blown away. I was blown away, and my whole thing is that I hope you guys don't cut any corners. This place is going to be the most popular restaurant in Baldwin Park. It's going to be packed with kids, students, adults, you name it. I went to the one in Pico Rivera, and I was like, I never heard of Raising Cane's. So I would like for you to come up and kind of give me a little background on Raising Cane's. Are they from the South, the Midwest, Texas? Where did this place come from? Because guys, I'm picky. I'm always out in LA, and I'm just like, wow, Raising Cane's is the real deal.
Hi, good evening. My name is Ruben Gonzalez. We are the architects representing Raising Cane's. Here's also John Pollock. He's with Kimley Horn, the engineers for Raising Cane's. He's more familiar with the project itself as because he's involved with all the site-related items. We typically are involved with the building itself. He has a history behind, because he's done quite a few projects, not only in California, but in other areas. So he can speak on that behalf.
Again, John Pollock with Kimley Horn. It's Pollock. I'm the civil consultant and one of the development consultants here for Raising Cane's. Unfortunately, Raising Cane's is not here tonight. They're in Texas. That's where their headquarters is, so they were not able to make it. But I also want to mimic the excitement that they have on their end as well to come to Baldwin Park. They've been looking at this site for a long time, so it's great to finally be here and be considered. To answer your question, it actually started in Louisiana. Mm-hmm. That was the very first location. The founder, Todd Graves, actually had this vision to create a chicken finger restaurant. He never had the money. He actually he dropped out of school to start raising money. He did various things, and the mural that's on the side of the building kind of tells a little bit of the story. He went to work in the oil fields. He went to work in Alaska for salmon fishing to raise money to open up the first location in Louisiana. And you'll see the trend of the one love. Their one love is quality chicken fingers. They serve 4 things on the menu: Texas toast, coleslaw, French fries, and chicken, and that's about it. So that's where the one love comes from. But yes, to answer your question, it did start in the South.
And you know what? I love the fact that you're going to have these late hours. I went like after 11 o'clock during the week. It was packed. And this is like, maybe 15 minutes ago, like I said, I was blown away. I mean, I was like, there's spots in Baldwin Park, Raising Cane's would be perfect. I almost wanted to make a call to, and say, would you come to Baldwin Park? But, it makes sense when you say the South,
yeah.
Louisiana, because, that's the capital. But, man, welcome.
Thank you. Really appreciate
Mr. Marquez, I'd like to echo the same sentiment. Raising Cane's was a staple of my diet when I was a student in Arizona State University. It was popular in Phoenix, and it was something I lived off of. And so I graduated in 2013, moved back, kind of had a drought from constantly craving that. In 2016, happy to read in the newspaper that they opened one in Downey, and I always had that hope that it'd come gravitate somewhere closer to us. And maybe 2 months ago when we had this conversation here up on this dais that we were going to be discussing this application in the near future, I was just blown away with excitement. And I'm extremely happy that that Raising Cane's has decided to bring their business to Baldwin Park. I think it's going to fit in very well, and I'm super, super excited. So, but actually, a question that traffic study, because I think they said that at the peak there was only 9 cars. I don't think I've ever been to a Raising Cane's where there was less than 30 cars in the drive-thru. So it's good that the drive-thru is actually rated for up to 24 cars or whatever it is, because I think that's definitely going to be a benefit, because I think this is one of the first Raising Cane's that I've seen that actually has like the 2-lane drive-thru that converges into one. So hopefully that'll relieve some traffic. So yeah, thank you very much for choosing Baldwin Park.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and I hope that, like I said, going forward, that you guys make this as nice and as inviting as possible, because it's going to be a hangout. I mean, all day, all night kind of thing. I'm excited.
Yeah, I know you've been to some of the other Raising Cane's locations. They do a great job of making it very, Baldwin Park. This is Baldwin Park's Raising Cane's. A lot of the local high school stuff up on the walls, and very inviting for the young community to gather and, enjoy their chicken fingers and do their thing. So you guys will be able to obviously see that. So we're very excited.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm the one that's never been there, but I'm excited. I'm going to take my family there as soon as it opens. But I'm excited about it for a different reason also, is because most of the time, I'm a lifetime resident of Baldwin Park, and basically there's on again, off again, homeless encampments where you guys are going to set it up, along with the once in a while an auto club will all get there, and they get a little crazy with their cars and stuff. So I'm glad that a nice business like this is going to go in there, because it's pleasing to the eye also, especially from the designs I've seen. So I just like to say thank you for coming to Baldwin Park, and welcome.
Thank you.
And we haven't even voted yet. So
Go ahead.
Oh.
I was just saying thank you.
Thank you.
But I'm a fan of all food, so I'll definitely be there. All right. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this matter? Seeing none, public communication is now closed.
No, so Mr. Chair, I'd like to be the first one to make this motion. I make a motion to approve project.
Absolutely. I second it wholeheartedly.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
And this too has to go to City Council for the development plan.
Yes.
Is that correct?
This is going to be tentatively agendized for the first meeting in July. I'm sorry, the second meeting in July. Thank you.
All right. Seeing the officers' report, I believe, do we have any?
I just want to update you guys. The commission, we are scheduled to have a planning commission meeting on the 26th. We have 2 items on the agenda, which is the recycling facilities coming back to you, and also a 5-unit condominium project.
Can I say for the record that, Edwin, that you're going to have to listen to the tape of the recycling center in order to participate, okay? And then Edith, I don't know if she'll be back. Yeah. And Esther, you can get the voice recording for them. They don't have tapes anymore, I'm sorry. It's not available online.
Before we end, Commission, I also wanted to just mention real quick, wanted to welcome our new part-time planning technician. Today was his first day. Staff is really excited about having him on board, Baltazar Barrios. So we're really lucky to have him join the team. So I want to welcome him.
Welcome.
Don't let the sound go out. No, just playing. Welcome. All right, we have staff communications. Any staff? Yes. All right. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Mr. Chair, I make the motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Yeah, Rooney, you're going to be out before the doors open. You'll be camping out for Raising Cane's.